You have a few minutes to talk?
Yeah, I do.
Today I want to talk about OCD behaviors, particularly the ones that are caused by the laser light. So one common toy, we're going to call it a toy, but one common toy that a lot of people use for their dogs and their cats is a laser light. So it's those little laser lights, you can point at the wall and it's exactly what it is. It's a little laser light, bright red. And for cats, it's hours and hours of entertainment for the person and the cat. Now, cats typically can switch it off. As far as I've seen, they can switch it off. They'll look for it, they get entertained, just like they get entertained by a feather. And then after that, they can move along. With dogs, this is where I've seen it cause the most issues. And I'll explain why, and I have a call that I'm going to show you in this video where I'm talking to an owner who is struggling with OCD behaviors caused by a laser light. So stay tuned for that. But real quick, so the laser light is a bit of a point of disagreement for pet owners and dog trainers alike. And so the people that say there is no problem with the laser light have never seen any problems with the laser light. They've used it on their dogs and they've never had the dogs have any issues. The people that are against the use of laser lights have seen the problems that a laser light can cause. And what it can cause is it can cause this obsession with the light. Because essentially what happens with a laser light, it's a stimulus that can never be attained. Okay, think about that. If I throw a ball for a dog, they can chase the ball and they can grab the ball. They can actually reach the ball. Same thing with a lot of other things. But you notice that when a dog, specifically a prey-driven dog, this could be a herding breed, this could be a terrier, this could be a dog that is bred to chase things. If these dogs get to see prey items, if they get to see prey animals like rabbits or birds or anything, and they never get to attain it, they never get to actually reach it, have you noticed that they are always on the lookout for it? Right? That's one thing you'll notice. A dog that suddenly becomes obsessed with a squirrel, they realize that they can never attain it. And I'm not suggesting that they attain it. I'm not suggesting that they grab it and their problems will be solved. I'm just illustrating a point here. The dogs that are really not a whole lot driven by something that runs, what happens with them is, yes, they'll see the rabbit, they'll chase it a little bit, but then after that, it's like out of sight, out of mind. They're over and done with, they'll move on to the next thing. But there are dogs that will just obsess over it. They just keep looking for it. Now in drive selection, we call that a bit of hunt drive. So not so much the desire to chase it, but the desire to find it when it's not there, when it's out of sight. Well, the dogs that are prone to have this, the dogs that are very inclined to chase things, not only to chase them, but to look for them when it's out of sight, these are the dogs that are more inclined to develop obsessive compulsive disorders caused by the laser light. Now, what do we call obsessive compulsive disorders? I'm not a veterinary behaviorist, so I'm just giving you the terminology that I've been taught, the terminology that I've learned, and the terminology that is commonly used in the industry. But I will put that disclaimer there. I am not a veterinary behaviorist. Well, in terms of OCD behaviors caused by the laser light, you end up seeing dogs that become obsessed with the light. It's like they're always thinking about it. They're looking for it. They see it like out of the corner of their eyes, even though it's not there. This happens because a little game of laser light became just more antagonistic, right? The person just kept teasing the dog over and 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 over, and the dog realized that it can never actually get satisfaction, even when it reached it, right? Even if it pounces on the wall and gets it, It never actually gets it. So now it's out of sight, but not out of mind. Now this dog starts hunting for it. And again, the fact that it keeps hunting for it, it knows it's somewhere over there. On top of that, the people tease it occasionally, right? So they're looking for it. They light it up over here on this wall, and then it disappears. And then they light it up again on another wall, and it disappears. Well, what happens is this could drive the dog insane. Some dogs can switch it right off because to them, they're not inclined to respond that way. But to some dogs, like herding breeds, and that has been my experience, the herding breeds are the ones that get affected by this the most. And it makes sense because they are herding breeds. These are breeds that were bred and selected for predatory drive, meaning the inclination, the desire, and the tendency to chase something is already part of their DNA. It's part of their breed. And then another thing you start seeing is they'll start chasing shadows. They start seeing flickering of lighting. They see light somewhere on the side of on the corner of their eyes, and they just start pouncing for it. Another form of OCD that I've also seen is constant spinning. The constant spinning could be a result of, again, chasing their tail. So chasing the tail, it's another predatory type behavior. Right? So when they're chasing their tail, a lot of times they're unable to reach it. So they see this thing out of the corner of their eye. It's an actual tail. It triggers the chasing behavior. And as they're chasing, and again, they're just chasing it, and they're unable to get it. And sometimes, of course, they do get it, which could possibly reinforce this spinning. So this is another problem that can become a habit, and this habit now becomes an obsession for the animal. And in this conversation that I'm going to have with this lady, I address how you do that.
Hello? Yeah.
Hey, this is William. You have a few minutes to talk?
Yeah, I do. I am.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I have a quick favor to ask you. If you don't mind, and it's entirely up to you, would you be okay if I recorded parts of this conversation? So I have a YouTube channel. I can leave your personal information out, but just for the sake of some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, would you mind if I record some of our conversation?
Sure.
Okay.
Name and information.
Yeah. No, I promise you that won't make it to and it's gonna be bits and pieces. So tell me a little bit about your dog.
Well, okay, so her name is Penny. We did foster to adopt, and she was in the shelter for 3 months before we got her. And she was only 9 months old when we got her. And, sorry, I'm just getting in my car. She was already 9 months when we got her, and then now she's a year old, and her problems are not as bad as they were.
Let me ask you a good question real quick. I'm going to stop you for a moment just so that this makes sense to me. She's a year old right now. You got her as a foster to adopt. How old was she again when you got her as a foster to adopt?
9 months.
She was 9 months. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that period of time, since 9 months to about now, which is roughly about a year of age, when did you start noticing that she had problems with you guys hugging, picking up kids?
Honestly, I would say the first day that we had her.
So right away, this started?
Well, when we brought her home, even when we were at the shelter, and she had a major jumping and nipping problem. Like, it was bad. And then I was still like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, you know what? All dogs are like this in the shelter. And this was the first time I ever went to a shelter to get a dog. And so I was like, all right, I've seen this on TV. I've heard about this with my friends. It's normal. She'll be fine as soon as we get home. Everybody kept telling me she'll be fine the next day. She wasn't. She kept trying to bite our feet. And when my husband came home, I gave him a hug, and she immediately jumped on him and nipped his arm while barking.
This was on day one.
This was when she first did the the hugging and barking thing.
Yeah.
That was about, I want to say, day 2.
Okay, so day 2 you start to know.
Yeah.
Roughly day 2. Okay. Now, just so I get a pretty good idea as to what you guys got going on here, what tell me a little bit about the dynamics of your household. So, is it your husband, you, your 14-year-old daughter? Who else do you have?
I have 4 girls, my husband, myself. My friend actually has been staying with me for a minute to help me with Penny because I can't. I'm disabled. He was actually supposed to be my husband's dog, but he works like crazy. And truth be told, I wanted a lazy dog. My other dog was lazy. He was like a spirit animal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when he passed away, my kids and I, we were just depressed all the time. And
when did that happen?
he passed away in October.
Oh, so it's very recent.
Yeah, and then my husband and I were both like, we decided to get a new dog together. Like it was, he was far away from me, like in a different town by the Bay Area, like 2 hours away, and we both texted each other at the same time, hey, I think we should get a new dog. And because we did that before and it worked, and honestly it worked this time too. But when they told me, oh, she's, very hyper, I was like, oh, it's okay, my kids are very hyper, we're okay, we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was getting into until I got home. I looked it all up, I did a lot of research, and I do mostly what I can from what I researched. But like I said, I'm disabled, so I can't really do a lot. So I have my husband or my kids or my daughter and her boyfriend, take her for walks or use a bike sleeve because she does have a major urge to bike still, and the sleeve actually helps. We got a bike sleeve for her, bike work, and we'll let her, bite on the sleeve for a little while, and then she's okay. It actually helped a lot. She doesn't bite as much anymore. And I enforce a lot. It's just a laser thing. I actually found out it was my oldest. She was playing with the laser behind my back, and now I don't even know how to fix this issue because, I do, but it just...
Okay, I'll get to that. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that for sure because I want to give you some pointers because I had a very similar situation with a dog that had OCD. Mm-hmm. The OCD was very, very bad, and I'll tell you what worked for me, and I'll tell you what I've noticed worked for people who have dogs that have developed OCD. Now I'm gonna get to the laser part. When did you realize that your daughter was playing with the laser?
I actually didn't know. So what happened from the beginning until now, I guess, was I bought the laser because I remembered my husky, my former dog, he played with one for a minute, and my neighbor's dog too. I'm like, okay, it's going to be awesome. She's going to have fun. No big deal. And I posted about it on the Belgian page, and that's when everybody started attacking me, calling me a horrible owner, said do not play with a laser with her. And I'm like, wow, okay, rude, but okay, let me do my research, and I found out it's no good. So immediately I cut it all off. We barely played with her to begin with, honestly. So I cut it off when it was still okay. And then I told my family, do not use this laser with her. It can cause a light disorder, make her OCD. And everybody's like, okay, no problem, whatever. And then shortly after, I started noticing she was constantly chasing flashlights and shadows, and I remembered what I read about it and all the videos I watched, and I knew somebody was still using a laser. So, and I automatically assumed it was my teenagers because I caught them like once or twice after I told them no, and so I got onto them, and then my oldest told me that it was only her, not her sister. And I'm like, well, now she's OCD, and I don't know how to fix it because she just goes for hours and hours. And that's when I posted about the OCD thing recently on page, the one that you commented on. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm making some notes here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what are some of the things that she does that tell you this is a problem? So I know you mentioned briefly she chases lights, she's chasing shadows.
She will lunge at the wall. She'll lunge at the door. She'll lunge at shadows on the floor. She'll scratch at them and bark at them. She'll scratch at them, bark at them. Hold on. Hey, give your sister a napkin from the glove box. She has been clawing at the ground, like outside, or in my garage. She'll claw at the ground. And then she just, like I said, she just disconnected from playtime because there's a new shadow or there's a new light.
So it sounds like, and what I've seen before is with other dogs is it's almost that they become obsessed, like they're looking for a light almost. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you notice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I've seen it, and that's what it looks like. They look like they're just looking for it to pop up somewhere.
Yeah, and when she does that, I've already told everybody when they see her chasing for a light or a shadow, just exhibiting those behaviors, to get her, distract her with a treat or distract her with a toy, redirect her from that behavior. And it worked a little bit actually, or that's when I also will use her crate, because if the treats aren't working, the toys aren't working, I will put her in her crate because I know the crate is supposed to be her safe spot, and to bring her down from being overstimulated, overwhelmed because she cannot find said light or shadow. And it does work still a little bit. It's just I do a little bit of everything because I have watched a lot of videos, so I'm just trying to do different methods. Everything works a little bit, but she still winds up going back.
Okay. Well, there is some good news here. I think I have pretty much all the information, the basic information that you're going through. The issues that you're going through, and I have enough information to give you some pointers, give you a little bit of what I've noticed works really well with these guys from my experience, and then I'll make some recommendations, okay? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the good news is she's very young. You haven't had her very long. You got her at 9 months of age. And she's about a year old now, so you've only really had her for a few months, right?
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 months since we've had her.
So that's the good news is you've only done that for a very brief, short period of time. That's the good news. So there's no need to beat yourself up over it. It's not like if it had been done for the first 9 months of her life, I'd say we're in serious trouble. But because she's a year old and you've only really on and off done it for about 3 months, in about a 3-month period, I would say it doesn't seem like it's a hopeless issue.
And it's honestly, I don't feel like it's too hopeless, but I wanted to post on that group, stupidly post on that group, mind you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing too. So first, that's the good news, okay? The good news is don't beat yourself up over it. This is something that I believe, I don't know your dog, but I believe based on what you're telling me, based on the age of the dog, it's something that is salvageable. So the other thing too is Facebook groups, especially dog Facebook groups, even though I'm part of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I hate to say this as a blanket statement for the Facebook groups because there are some good people on there.
Yeah.
There are people that want to help, but a lot of times these groups are infested with very crappy, ill-mannered people that just
they don't know how to
they don't know how to talk, but they don't even know what they're doing themselves, and so they think the little that they know, they think they're experts. And again, I hate to use that as a blanket statement because there are some really good people in these groups, but unfortunately, you're going to have a bunch of those people also. So I would say if you're going to look for some sort of support, you could find it, but just don't be surprised if you get some backlash and ignore it.
Yeah, like that Jay guy telling me I'm a horrible person for letting my children be around my dog.
Yeah, I didn't read the comments. I don't even, I'm not even up to date with what people say because, that's what happens a lot of times is these people are just ruthless and just incredibly ignorant. But anyways, let's go back to your dog.
Yeah.
So here's where I think you're on the right track. You're on the right track because you're interrupting her when she gets into that mode.
Okay.
So you're doing good there. But I'll tell you what you need to do now.
Okay.
There's a couple of things, very actionable things that you could do. Is one, get rid of that laser light. Find it and just get rid of it.
Oh, I did.
Perfect.
Well, I'm going to give it to my neighbor. She's got cats. Oh, wait, no, she got a brand new puppy. I don't want that thing. Okay, I'm going to throw it away when I get home.
Just throw it away. And the reason is, I know you're not going to use it, and I know you talk to your kids, but kids are kids. So,
Yeah.
So just get rid of it. Do that right away. Don't even chance it. The other thing that you got to do is, you have to be, I know this is hard, but you have to be, you've been doing a good job at interrupting, but you have to do a better job. And I hate to sound like I'm chastising you. I'm not chastising you.
No,
I'm just telling you.
What you mean is keep interrupting her until she
You have to. And here's another thing that you have to do. If you're not able to interrupt her if she gets into that mode, which you are already doing because you told me you're doing this. If you're unable or it's not practical to just watch her and interrupt her every time she does it, put her away. Like you've been doing. Put her away, put her in the crate, cover the crate. I don't know if you have a wire crate or what, but...
We have a metal wire crate. I have a sheet that I put over it.
Yeah, put a sheet over it. Just be careful that because she does eat things. I'm going to go over that in a little bit too. She does eat things, so some dogs figure out to pull the blanket from outside the crate, so just be careful that doesn't happen. Usually some sort of panel or something that is hard to grab works good too. But anything to block her view will be best. That way she's not looking for those shadows outside.
Yeah.
Also, when you interrupt her, I know you're interrupting her with food, which is good, but it's not always good enough. Sometimes you have to interrupt her with a little bit of presence. Like what I mean by that is if you see her chasing, scratching at the wall, scratching at the ground, looking for those shadows, give her one way to interrupt them that sometimes makes a better interruption than food is to like clap your hands really loud and go, hey, knock it off. Something like that to just kind of almost startle them out of that mindset.
That's actually, funny you say that because I actually just started doing that.
Do that.
I'll tell her, nope.
Yes. Basically what you're doing is, when you do that, you're actually telling her, knock that off. That's kind of what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With food.
Actually, I told my kids and my husband that from what I looked up online is that sometimes you gotta really not like hit these dogs or shock them or whatever. No, but you gotta
you have to have a firm hand.
Yeah, you gotta really get them out of that
yes.
focus that they put themselves in.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah, and obviously just like you said, within reason, nothing crazy. But yeah, sometimes they do. With your case, I'd say, use like a firm tone, and essentially go. You gotta knock that off. Whatever that looks like, however that looks like for her and for you. It could be a clap, like a loud clap. Hey, knock it off. Another thing that works well too is, if you get like a soda can, you know what I'm talking about, just like a regular soda can, or a beer can, soda can, anything. Once it's empty, put a few pennies in it. and then duct tape the opening.
Okay.
And then you have what we call a shaker can.
Okay, I'll get my neighbors for that. We don't have.
So have it with you, and so you have a few pennies in a metal aluminum can, or it could be or it could be like any sort of metal can, like a food can. But the problem with the food cans is the entire top comes off. So
you have another method that works because I don't have a metal can or soup can. She has an e-collar.
Okay.
And what I do is I only had to use the shock feature when she was just completely uncontrollable and not, budging. And even then, the shock did absolutely nothing to her. The only thing that really gets her attention is when I beep it. I hit the beeping button, and then she's just like, "Oh, okay, you got my attention." You know what I mean?
I'd say don't use the beep tone, the beep feature, because if she's keying in on a visual stimulus, she may start cueing in on an auditory stimulus. There's a lot of things that beep around our life. You got a car outside, a truck outside that is going in reverse. It's going to beep.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? We don't want her to get desensitized to that. At some point, it's not going to mean anything. Now with the e-collar, it can work great. I would like you to have somebody at least kind of helping you firsthand in person with that.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing against e-collars. I use electronic collars. I have a lot of videos where I show people how to use electronic collars. If you go to my YouTube channel, I'll send you a couple of videos. My YouTube channel.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is filled with training videos, and a lot of them are how to use the e-collar properly. So I'm not against e-collars, but for your case, you have a dog that is probably understimulated. She already has a little bit of an OCD behavior. I'm not against it. I just would like you to get some assistance from somebody who could hopefully has more experience and can be there with you and assess whether that is the best tool for her. Because what I don't want is, I don't want her to receive a correction about something she doesn't understand, and then on top of that, it's associated with something she's obsessed with. Now you could create possibly a dog that is confused with OCD. And then on top of that, now you have just too many things going on. So I would say with the e-collar, I'm not against it, but have somebody with more experience helping you firsthand, like in person, ideally. The other thing, the other thing I would say is, use the presence, the clap, the yelling, whatever you need to let her know. Knock that off, okay?
Yeah.
Also, additionally, I know you play with her. I know you spend time with her, and you have her as fulfilled as you possibly can be. But the reason she is getting bored, and I know she's getting bored because she's eating things, she's chasing these lights, she's chasing the shadows. These are also side effects of a working dog that is understimulated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I would say another thing that you could do is this. And this is the only dog you have, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know she's got some resource guarding, which I would love to help you with that, but obviously you're in California, I'm in Texas, and we're only talking on the phone.
Yeah.
So there's only so much I can do, and so much I can do to help you. But one thing that will really help her out is give her mental stimulation. That way it keeps her mind occupied and away from shadows and lights and imaginary laser lights.
We hedge I sometimes try to like hide her treats and like tell her, oh, go find them, and I'll show her how to find them, like using her nose.
Good.
I have a snack game where she has to take the cover off in order to get the treat.
But is it like flat?
It's like little tiny cups, upside down cups that go over the treat in this board. I'll have to send you a picture when I get home.
It's an upside down, like an upside down what?
Like upside down cup thingies.
Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
So the ones that I really like are they're basically like kind of like Kongs. Okay.
Yeah.
You understand the concept of the Kong? You have one.
Yeah.
But there are some that are way better than Kongs. Basically, the openings are smaller.
Okay.
And then what you do is, and I'll send you some pictures of that too. You basically put kibble in it, and then the kibble, little by little, it takes a lot of effort for them to roll it out, take that kibble out, but it wears them out mentally, and it gives them something to do. And if I were you, that would be the only way I would feed her. I wouldn't feed her in a bowl. I'd put her kibble in one of these toys, and basically just let her spend. Sometimes it'll take them like 15 minutes to get all that food out. So I would do something like that for her meal times, for her to earn her food. So she's not just eating out of a bowl, but also she is actually like, preoccupied on something else that is not a shadow.
Yeah. Well, I did see a thing online where they took a old coffee ground container, they drilled holes in it, and they put the dog's food in there, and the dog had to move the can around the floor to get the kibble. I was really thinking about doing that.
Don't do that. Don't do that, because what she's gonna do, if I know Malinois, okay, I own 4 Malinois, and I've been working with Malinois for most of my career, which has been over 15 years. If you do the coffee cans, which a lot of them are made out of metal, she's gonna get frustrated. She's gonna start biting into it, and then she's gonna cut up her gums and her lips.
Oh, okay.
So your best bet is some sort of toy. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a picture so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that is gonna help you. And now it'll give her some mental exercise. And additionally, I would say get her something else that she could use for physical exercise. Now, what I like, it's good if you're on a budget. It works amazing, and it's an exercise vest. But you have to be careful here because it's only 1 year old. Okay, so these exercise vests are made for working dogs. You put weight on them, and then that way as they're walking around, kind of running, they get some of that resistance from the weights. So that way they're not just running, but they're running with a little bit of weight. But the thing that you have to be aware of, if you do get one of those, you lightly load it up, like tiny bit. You don't load it up to max capacity. She's still young, so her growth plates are still not fused. She's still growing. Her joints are still, soft. You don't want to put a lot of physical strain on her. But if you put a little bit, like a little tiny bit of weight, as she develops, as she matures, then by the time she's 1.5 years, then you can load it up with all the weights.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it gives them it's almost like walking around with ankle weights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's kind of the concept. That is exercise on a budget. It will cost you maybe about between $100 to $200. Again, I'll send you some links for that as well. But you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I was closing my door.
Okay. So that would be, 2 things right there: mental exercise, physical exercise, and interruption. Interrupted every time it happens. Now, as a last thing, as a closing thing, you have to be very careful. This is basically how we're gonna wrap it up. You have to be careful with her eating things because I'm sure these things that she eats can kill her.
Yeah.
Like socks, you've been lucky that she's been digesting them and actually getting rid of them through the other end. But if she consumes something large enough, it will twist up her stomach and it'll kill her.
Yeah, that was my biggest worry, and that because my former dog is a former dog for a reason. I'm pretty sure he ate something that cut him up inside because he was literally digesting blood.
Yeah, yeah. So that is very likely what, honestly, and I'm sorry to bring up your late dog, but that if that's what you were noticing, it's very likely that that's what happened. So with your dog now, with Penny, I strongly recommend that you be very aggressive about keeping things off the ground that she can. And now I know it's hard because you got two little kids, and you got four daughters. You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to make one of these choices. Either don't be aggressive about it and risk her dying, or be very aggressive about it and eliminate that as a possibility.
Yeah, they can all hear you right now, so they know now.
Okay. And last, the other thing is, I know you're in California, right?
Yeah.
So if you can, again, I'm nowhere near you. I'm all the way in Texas.
Yeah.
But if you can, work with somebody who can help you out in person. Now, it doesn't have to be a board and train. It doesn't have to be an expensive training package. There are dog trainers that can actually help you through private lessons, through coaching. That's actually one of the things that I do with my clients that are local and some that are not so local. I can help them remotely. I talk to them every week. I visit them once a month. So there are different types of services that some trainers can offer. I would say maybe taking your dog away for training for a period of time and then bringing her back to you, probably not the best for your situation. Try to find, if you can and when you can, somebody who can help you, like in person at your place ideally. And I know it's an investment, but the return that you're gonna get in the longevity, the well-being, the happiness of your dog, and also the stuff that you're gonna learn and that your family is gonna learn, it's an investment that is worth your while. Okay?
Yeah, the downside is trying to find anybody out here to help is they charge a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then we thought about getting one of those, I forgot what it's called. It's like a treadmill, but for dogs.
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah.
It's so expensive.
I actually, it's funny you should mention that. I actually sell those.
Yeah, they're expensive, though.
Yeah.
So I was going to get a treadmill online, like a really cheap one, and, introduce her to it and just let her run her energy out on that. 'Cause like I said, it's hard for me to take her out on walks, mostly because she just, one, my joints swell, and two, because she pulls really hard. And I've been working with her on that today, and she got a little better, but...
Yeah, so the slab mills, it's very interesting that you brought that up. So I'll tell you a little bit about the benefit of the slab mill. So I have 4 Malinois, and I do sports with them. I compete with them, and I have 5 acres. So I'm very blessed that I have the resources and the room to exercise my Malinois, my working dogs. Yeah. But I also have clients who have Malinois who don't have as much of that. And this is where these gadgets come in handy, like the exercise vest I told you about. It's a gadget. It's something that can actually help you. It gives you a little bit of leverage in terms of how much exercise you can get for the same amount of walking that they do on a regular basis. The slat mill or a treadmill, this is one of those other gadgets that help you when you don't have the time, or in your case, the physical ability to take her for a walk. So or the space. So that is one of those things, again, that they're safe. The dog does have to learn how to use it, but I have instructional videos on how to do that. But at the same time, it's one of these things that will give your dog the exercise that you cannot compete with. Like, you cannot take her on a
15-minute walk, not doing anything.
Pardon me?
Huh?
What'd you say?
The 10 or 15-minute walk don't really do much.
No, you could take her on a 1 hour walk and it will not do as much as 10 minutes on a slap mill.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so I wasn't even gonna think about bringing that up on this call until you mentioned it, but it is something that would absolutely help you out tremendously for the rest of her life. Not only that, but for the rest of any other dogs that you have in the future's life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's another conversation we're going to have later at some point if you wanted to. For mine, I do offer payment plans. You can pay it in 36 months, 12 months, or 6 months. So there's a flexibility for that, and it comes right to your door. But in the meantime, until you are able to look at that, let's say do those things that we talked about. So be aggressive about keeping things that she can eat. Take them out. Get rid of that laser light. Toss it in the trash. Get you an interactive toy, and I'm gonna send you a link to that.
Okay.
And get a shaker can, and use a little bit more presence when you interrupt her when she's looking for shadows.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell my husband about that. I'm gonna tell all of them about doing all that here in a minute.
All right, well, Rachel, it was nice talking to you. I hope this was helpful, and I mean, this is as much help as I can give you, in about an hour's worth of call. So, hopefully this helps you, and I think it is. If you implement the stuff that I told you, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, no, honestly, this is the most help I've gotten from a professional. I mean, I watch American Canine. I don't know if you know him.
No, I actually don't.
There's a company, the American Standard Canine or something like that, and he trains like worldwide. He's amazing, but he's not very helpful. He just talks about about dogs and what he trained them to do. He doesn't tell us how he did it.
Yeah.
Because you gotta pay for that.
I'm gonna send you some videos. So my YouTube channel has over 1,000 videos, and like the bulk of them are instructional videos, and a lot of them are Malinois content. So I'm gonna send you that. You can subscribe to my channel, look at some of the stuff that I got, see if you can find it helpful, and and then just stay tuned. I do a podcast where I talk about dogs. And I do an episode like basically every day. So I'm always posting on YouTube, always posting on the podcast. So some of that stuff might be helpful to you. All right?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, well, it was nice talking to you, and best of luck.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, bye.